episode of the Values Workshop. I have the good fortune to speak to Hasmukh Bhai after a long time. Welcome, Hasmukh Bhai, to the show.
Thank you, Bunty.
Uh, I've been thinking in the last half an hour about this episode more than I would like to. Surely because I kind of realized that having asked you to participate in this podcast, I didn't know what I would ask you. And I had some vague memory of what we had spoken, and I'd enjoyed that entire episode a lot. And we had spoken a lot of scientific things, and I had learned a lot of new things thanks to your sharing. Uh, One of the things that I realized that I feel about you as a human being, which I do not otherwise get outside, is the use of knowledge as power. And by power, I mean a sense of I am better than you, which you do not give. You share so much and you are so knowledgeable, but you do not intimidate. And I wanted to know why would this be? Do you agree, one? And if you do, why do you think you would be not having this sense of intimidation in spite of sharing knowledge, which is not commonplace for many people?
So, answering your question at both levels, I'm a scientist, I'm a creative person. What that means is that I get bored very easily. Okay.
Okay.
My strength is I was a project manager for emerging technologies, which was new. To give you an idea, I worked on the world's first internet bank, which was first network bank out of Atlanta, Georgia. Correct. And then I worked on video on demand, which today is the set-top box that you see. We did that trial in Jacksonville, Florida. I worked on so many new things, and I enjoyed doing them. I worked hard. Like I used to sleep till 2 o'clock, means work till 2 o'clock, and I just sleep 2 to 6, 4 hours of sleep, and then I'm back on. Because I'm excited. I want to know how this will work out. I'm not doing it because I'm going to get some money or things like that. The search was there, number one. Number two is we were all in this together. Everybody was there. So it was not that I was the whole and soul who thought through all these things. I like collaborative learning. And my strength is I like to see the big picture. I want to know every detail that is going on. While in the US, if you see, people work in silos. They're very good in their silo. But they have no interest, nor do they want to know what is happening outside the silo. And that was my strength, is I wanted to know everything that is happening in the whole thing, inside the silo and outside the silo. So basically, my strength is problem solving. Correct, number one. And when I did my projects, because I was a consultant, I was not an employee of any company other than myself. So I used to tell my client and the project sponsor that I will only take up this project on the condition that you give me 2 people who will take over from me. I will share all my knowledge with them. And 2 people, because if one of them goes, they have one backup. Correct? And by doing this, what benefit I got is that, first of all, I transferred knowledge into that company. Correct? They were very happy. And these were all very challenging projects. To let you know, in 2002, I did an artificial intelligence project, which people are getting to know as of last year.
Oh.
Correct? Yeah. Right. Now ChatGPT has come, and then I think Google has got Gemini and things like that. But we were working on this 20 years ago, and doing all those things. So doing that, it was a tough challenge. Now I did this AI for an insurance company. We built a rules engine whereby the salesperson could design the insurance package for the client. Previously, they had to go to IT to say, oh, do this and that, and then give us this package with these conditions and so on. But we found out there were about 269 rules. We put all those rules into a AI engine. And then based on the combination of rules, what are the combinations possible? What are the combinations that are not proper? We put all those things. And what came out was something fantastic, right? Now, they had 2 people in that company trained, correct, on this new product. And I did that for 2 reasons. Number one, I will get bored very easily. I don't want to do the same thing again. Okay? While
Not
most
a problem.
consultants, they want to do the same thing again so that they will get a salary. Well, my
Yeah.
thing is exactly the opposite. Correct? Number one. And number two is these two people that I trained, invariably they got a promotion. Correct? Because I trained them. The company is benefiting from it. The company does not have to pay the high consultancy charges to me or somebody else to do the same project again. Correct? So it was a benefit for them, and the know-how remained there. So every time I took a new project, so from that I did the sharing. I shared with these people the process. The important thing was the process. How this is executed. Right? Number one. The most important thing is, because I didn't want to do the project again, I finished the project within budget before time. Correct? So my client was happy. And these two people that I trained, they got trained on, how to do things with time, how to plan it, and so on. And how to look at the big picture. The most important thing was I taught them how to look at the big picture. Don't focus on the silo. And so this has been ingrained in me. And now, to give an example, I am on a farm. Prior to coming here, I came here in 2010, but I started working with bamboo in 2009. I've never worked with bamboo before. So I did a full research, how bamboos work, what are the treatment options and all that stuff. And now I've got all my structures here in bamboo. Right? I've got hyper. Hyper is a hyperbolic paraboloid. I was right now sitting in the hyper. Okay. It is 40 feet long and 30 feet wide without a single pillar in the middle. So this is known as a thin shell architecture. And probably the only one of its kind with bamboo. Others have then made. After I made this one, others have done something similar. So now there are many other bamboo-based hypers in India. But the beauty of this is you have an open space without any pillar in the middle. So this is known as thin shell architecture. And there are many other things that we have done, right? So now one more thing that I've done is I built my first geothermal in December 2013, and that was only 50 feet long. And now I built a geothermal which is 210 feet long. And a geothermal is an air conditioner. So it will cool the place in summer and it will heat the place in winter. Totally natural, totally with nature, right? So so to tell you, I share the knowledge. Now people call me, will you do this for us? I say, sorry. You come here, I will teach you and you go and implement it there. But I am not moving. Correct? Now people are scared to share what they know because they think that it will take away the revenue. But what people forget is that by sharing what you know, you can focus on other new things. Correct? If I didn't share and I just did everything myself, I can't focus on new things. And that would, to me, be worse than death. I might not live. And people have a hard time understanding it. Because look at it, even knowledge. Okay, money, though, it is out of the question, but even knowledge and everything. When you die, you are not going to take it with you. It's gone. So why leave anything behind? Just share it. Correct? And there is a saying by Mark Twain. Sorrow is something that can be endured alone, but to get the true benefit of joy, you must share it. That is all I'm doing.
So many thoughts crisscrossed in my mind as you were sharing this. But specifically, one question, which stays to the core of what my question was about. So I get the hang of it that you are willing to share it, so you don't have a fear of having to be powerful over somebody else because you are too busy on your own journey of discovery. How do you retain the confidence that you are going to crack the subject that you picked up? Isn't there any fear that you may fail, or because that might be the flip side of a lot of these people, that they will say they stick to the known because the unknown is always going to attract some kind of challenges that they were not prepared for. And we are all, like as a writer also, very often I pick up a subject, and while I may portray in front of the client that I know the subject, I go back and read like hell on each aspect of it to create any kind of communication because I need to know what it means and what am I proposing. I seem to have the knack of understanding where where it comes from, but the detailing has to be understood. You cannot fib your way through entirely. In meetings, it's fine just to give the client that hand-holding thing that I am in control.
Yeah.
But to be in control, I really work on it. I really
Yeah.
will work and I'll come up with the idea, the execution, and still be forward because it is a new thing for me, even though it is a boring subject when I start because I may not know anything about it. So, how do you handle or what makes you confident that you will crack whatever challenge you picked up?
So, yeah. So to give you an idea, there are two things that I deal with. Uncertainty and vulnerability. Okay. I am very comfortable with both. Correct. Number one. Number two, I live with a principle that I don't have to prove anything to anybody. Correct. Number three, I think in terms of things 20, 30 years into the future. Correct. So to give you an idea, my last project in 2003 was RFID, radio frequency identification. At some point in time, RFID is going to replace our barcode. Right now, all backends of major logistics warehouses are all RFID. The back office is done. Okay. But the front office, which is the retail, RFID is going to come, but it is going to replace the barcode. But it is still 10 years away. Today we are in 2023. Let's say in 2033, it may come into the market. And probably based on what we know now, I think instead of RFID, the QR code is going to replace it. But something similar is going to happen, right? So whatever we are working on were 20, 30 years of its time, correct? Personally, since I was 20 years old, I always did a planning of my life, how it's going to look for the next 25 years. Okay, today we are in 2023, but I've already mapped out, it's there on my bucket list, what I will do until 2045. Correct? So, and again, I say that this is a project manager's mantra. By failing to plan, one is planning to fail. No matter what the outcome, plan. I tell people plan. Now, I shared it on my group. I shared my bucket list on the group because the new year has come, right? We have just passed. I said, this is my bucket list. And I want you to share your bucket list with me so that if there are projects of similar interest, we can share and we can grow together. But to my surprise, out of a group of 290, we got about 5 people sharing their bucket list. And for many, what they told is the bucket list was actually a wish list. So planning is important, and that is what keeps me going.
But this is a final question is there. So I'll ask you a question which is related to what you just said right now. What happens to in the moment living when one
That is
plans
what's
too much? I want to understand the contradiction, and you don't seem like a guy who hasn't understood the aspect of in the moment. So how do you reconcile the two? Do you even bother reconciling? Where does planning come? Where does living in the moment come?
they are both together. They are both together. So one of the things is you do things, you plan things, but they may not happen as per plan. Okay. And to answer your question prior, failure, there are no failures. There is only learning. People have this fear of failure, but if you look at it as a perspective of opportunity to learn, there are no failures. It's very, very important. So I'm not scared of failing, but actually I love learning. So in everything that has not gone as per plan, okay, we will learn from the thing that deviated from the plan. And that is the greatest learning. If things went as per plan, then I can tell you there is something wrong that we are missing. And this is a real life incident anecdote I will share with you. There was a pilot. You know, pilots have to do a checklist before they can start the aircraft and fly. There was this one pilot. He did his entire checklist and everything went perfect. There was not one fault. He refused to fly the plane. He walked out. He said, I'm not flying the plane. Because he felt that there was a fault that he was not aware of. And if that fault happened, he wouldn't know how to handle it. While in previous all his flights, there was something wrong. And he knew how to handle it, how to compensate for it. So having something wrong is not a problem. Correct? That's why in the learning space, I practice something known as forgiving design. Correct? On a tree, there are no two leaves that are the same. They're all different. We are all unique. Okay. Unfortunately, the education system is brainwashing us by giving the same exam, the same textbooks, the same so many things, and judging us by the same yardstick. When evolution is not designed like that. Okay. So being different is a boon. It is not a curse. Correct? Number one. And number two, being different is not a failure. It is an opportunity for learning. Correct? That is one final point. Is I live in solitude. Correct? On my farm. So if I make all the mistakes, nobody knows. So I can make all the mistakes I want, but I focus on the learning and I move on.
So the question that I had related to the earlier this, when I said that knowledge is being used as power all over, one of the things that has concerned me in the last couple of years is my own struggle with morality in understanding it. As a kid, it was fairly easy. You knew to do the right thing, and it was the natural thing to do. It wasn't really a big deal. And you lied, you got caught, you got thrashed, you knew this was right, this was wrong. Now, with increasing availability of knowledge as well as the media skewing things all over, the learning for a lot of people who refuse to think for themselves mostly is the fact that might is right or power is right or the people who are in authority are speaking the right things. And so we are willing to believe whatever is being fed to us and on all fronts, not only just political, but scientific, but otherwise. In fact, you started by saying I'm a scientist, I get bored very easily. You know, that itself is a bloody statement that many scientists would be unwilling to make today. They're so sure about, okay, this is what we know. So my question to you, where does morality uh, participate in the learning of your journey? And are there any examples you can share where this is critical to your journey?
So for people who come to the farm, because right now I'm there and I need hands to work with, and I'm encouraging the youth to come here and learn from what I'm doing. And the fundamental criteria there is character and integrity. Okay, character and integrity you can't teach. It is within. I can teach all the science that is there. I can teach artificial intelligence. We can look at robotics, so many things that are there. I can teach it. But if that person does not have character and integrity, it does not work. I'll give you an example. So I've tried to help orphan kids. So I got one 18-year-old orphan kid from an orphan home. He lived here for 16 months. I tried to teach him, a very good kid. But at the end of the day, he stole 2,000 rupees from my gift box. And I would not have caught as well because I practice gift culture. So I don't open my gift box every day. I open my gift box once in 3 months. If somebody steals, I don't know. But in that gift box were 50 Canadian dollars, which a student had given me. So every time I open the gift box, I left the 50 Canadian dollars there. I didn't take that out. And one fine day, I see that the 15 Canadian dollars is missing. So I know a robbery has taken place. And then that time, there were only 2 people on the farm. So I asked both of them and I caught this fellow. But that's it. I asked him to leave. I mean, I have also written a blog, which I'll probably share with you later, is about trust. Okay. People talk about love. Love is the most important thing. No, I don't. I don't believe in love being the most important thing. I believe in love and all that, but it is not the most important thing. For me, trust is number one. Okay, I say, I would rather trust a person and not be in love than vice versa. I can tell you, look at today's world today. So many couples, all of them, they don't trust each other. They say we are in love and all that stuff. I mean, that is not true. So it's trust. So the example that you said is integrity. So I need to try. And again, it takes 10 consistent, constant demonstrations to build trust, and only one partial failure to break it. People don't understand that, how important integrity is. Correct? I could be the greatest scientist and mind on the planet, but if I don't have integrity, it does not hold water. At some point it will go, and therefore all these top-notch honchos that you see in the world today, very few are honest. And so my bit is, so people say, oh, what are you doing? I'm not doing anything. I'm just doing my part. And hopefully someday it will become a movement. But I'm not here to start a movement, nor am I here to promote a movement. I'm just doing my bit.
You solved one thing that I had in my head for a very, very long time. Uh, a lot of people speak about blind faith being wrong. And for a long time in my head was, if faith is not blind, then it is not faith. Was always running in my head. But I couldn't reconcile it because people had a better argument when they said, but today I understood what I meant, but I may not have had the words before this, is that trust is love.
Yes, yes.
And that's what I also always had when I was a different kind of seeker. I went on the bhakti marg for a long time, and it always confused me that people came and they had all kinds of needs from an invisible God. I didn't have a problem with invisible or visible or a certain form. I have no such problem. As long as you're having fun and you're happy, that means there is something good happening there. But it became very beggary. It became very, oh, if this doesn't happen, oh, what if this happens? And then it became very need-based, greed-based. And I couldn't figure out for my life that why are you not happy? You have a God in your life. What else would you need? You are doing your chanting or whatever arti, and it always, this as well as the other question that I had was that faith needed to be blind. Like there was complete trust. And I couldn't figure out why I couldn't answer these queries when people said, no, faith needs to be whatever. It cannot be blind. Like it needs to have a scientific basis. But it actually meant this. Like I understood the core of it meant trust. And that when you blindly trust, like I may not have a God, a presence called God in my life anymore. But I have full trust that life is perfect. So whatever is happening to me at any point of time, even if I do not like it and I am that suffering mode, oh my God, this shouldn't be happening to me, or whatever, but I have no problem. I think it is the perfect thing to be. It is my inability to understand it in that moment or study it properly or observe it, but it is not wrong at any point of time.
Right.
And that trust is what keeps me moving and keeps me ready for the next moment, even while I'm living this moment. How much ever I can sustain that awareness, if that is the word I'm looking for. Another thing that I would want to know, how did you keep away from intellectual arrogance, given your knowledge?
I didn't. Actually, I had that, correct? But before I go to that, your previous talk gave me 2 points that I want to make.
Please.
On trust.
Okay.
Trust in God, but tie your cow. Okay? So I don't believe in blind trust. Absolutely don't believe in blind trust. Trust has to be earned. It has to be earned. It's not given. Okay? So therefore, trust in God, but tie your cow. Second is about God. There's a say, I forget the fellow's name. It just came to me today. Humanity, correct, is believing in a invisible God but destroying a visible nature. Humanity is believing in an invisible God, but destroying the visible nature.
Yeah.
Unaware of the fact that the visible nature they are destroying is the invisible God they are worshipping.
Oh,
You understand what I'm saying?
lovely.
That is where the whole thing is coming out. And I'm living in nature. I can see it. I can feel it. I can experience it. And I can't do anything about it. I'm just living my life. Correct? Okay. So now let's get back to the question you're saying.
Question to you, how did you skip the intellectual
So I was arrogant. In my youth, I was arrogant. And it comes with the territory. Okay, I'll tell you. What people had a hard time understanding for a month, I could grasp it in like half an hour. Correct? And that was a gift. Correct? And people couldn't grasp it. I was thinking, what the heck are they doing? And all that stuff. But also it gave me a boon in a different way. I was a mentor for so many people because they couldn't understand. So I used to find ways how to explain this thing to them.
Okay.
Correct? And that made me humble. Because when you try to just, so let's say if I was arrogant and I said, okay, I know this, you go to hell, I'm not going to explain to you, then it's a different ballgame. But I, at that time, said, no, this is something. And one of the key points here is what you learn from teaching, you could never learn any other way. Because your fundamentals get so strong when you're doing this. So I started from that sort of mindset, but slowly I matured. At that time, I was immature, but now I'm matured. So, and I think everybody goes through that journey of arrogance. But some people stay arrogant for the entire life, which is wrong. So now I know. And also, one key point is that whatever knowledge I've gained, I've not gained it in isolation and all by myself. It has been a collaborative learning journey. Not just with human beings, animals. For example, I have 5 rescued dogs now. Actually, there's a dog here you can't see. He's here and I'm petting him because he's just come a month ago and he needs attention, right? So I am petting him as I'm discussing with you. Now, I have learned so much from dogs. Correct? I've said repeatedly, in the wilderness, I can live without people, but I cannot live without my dogs. Correct? And there's a saying here, Mark Twain. He said, if you make a starving dog prosperous, it will never bite you. That is the difference between a dog and a human being. Correct? So, that arrogance was there. But after seeing, being with nature, being with animals, it has humbled me. It has humbled me immensely. So to give you an idea, you must have read some of my writings.
I do.
Correct? I can't, and I have written them extempore. Correct? And I can't say, oh, this is my original idea. Okay. Now, they do come to me in visions. Okay. And sometimes I wake up at 2 in the morning because that idea has come and then I pen it. Okay. But that idea has not come on its own. There was somebody who said one thing, somebody else said something else, my experience with the plants, my experience with the animals and so on, all combined together have given me that thought. And then I've just penned the thought. I'm just the messenger. Correct? And so long as I understand my place that I'm a messenger and nothing more than that, I'm okay.
Okay. Again, a different question, but the same import. Do you think living in solitude for too long makes you antisocial?
No. To give you an idea,
Ji.
let's say I'm not a monk. Monks live in solitude for too long and they probably see their isolation as their purpose in life. Okay. For me, that's not true. I am in solitude, but I am in the company of nature. Okay. The birds, the ants, the dogs, the fruit and fauna and all that stuff. I'm in their company, number one. And number two, people come here. I am creating a space that can be shared. So people come here. And so my job is I've created a space. I don't own the space. I share the space. To give you an idea, I had one person who came here in April of 1 year. I don't want to go into the details, but he came here and he loved it. Over here, the freedom, and I live a minimalist lifestyle. So everything was there. No expectations. I tell people, if you're coming here, two things. Number one, come with a good sense of humor. And number two, zero expectations. Just take things as they are. So he loved it. And then he said, I want to bring a friend. So in May, he got a friend. It turned out to be his girlfriend. And she came here for 3 days. She stayed a week. Okay. She loved it. And she said, can I come back again? So this was May. And then in June, she came back. She quit her job and she came back. Okay. And then I get to know that in January of that year, 1st Jan, she came home. She was a bit tipsy and her father beat her up. She's a 26-year-old woman. And then she told me that her father, I came to know all this later when she came for the long stay. And she went into the balcony and slit her wrists. Fortunately, her father came out after an hour or so, saw her in the balcony, and he had some influence. So he got the doctors to take care of her and save her life. And then they put her on drugs, this antidepressant drugs and all that, thinking that she's depressed. Then she came here and she stopped all those drugs. But I told her, see, don't do it because of the space. It's your decision and you need to consult somebody. But she was okay. She was okay with the environment over here. She stayed for 3 months. Her father got to know, he called me. He said, why is my daughter there? I said, I don't know. I didn't decide. I didn't call her. You come here. I'm not stopping you. But she's here of her own will. And she's old enough to be here of her own will. Correct? So she stayed here for 3 months. Then she went back. She went back in September. And then in October, her mother and father both, I had a community gathering over here. So we had about 30, 40 people. Correct? They both came and they saw the space and all that. And today her father is the one who gives me the tightest hugs. Then at one time he said, I don't know and all that stuff. Then she has now made this her home, her first home. Means she doesn't live here. She keeps coming and going wherever she is. So one day I asked her, what is it that you found when you came here? Because now she's totally okay. She's fully okay. No drugs, nothing. She's a wonderful person. So she said, Hasmukh, this place gave me hope. Just one word. Correct? Hope. Like, if there is hope, you can live. So that is what my purpose is. I'm creating this space. I am not the doer. I'm the doer for the space, but I'm not the doer for what do you call healing people or anything. No, I'm not. Correct? And to that level, okay. So when we go into this, there's two things about reducing stress. Okay. Many people are stressed. But if you practice these two things, you'll be getting away from stress. Number one is acceptance. Whatever you have accepted. Correct? Now, I am living in a space which is about 10 feet by 6 feet, 60 square feet. That's it. Well, I have 5,000 square feet of built up space around here to accommodate 100 people. But I'm happy with my 60 square feet of space. I don't need more. I have a bed, I have a table on which my and I have a wardrobe. Just 3 things. Correct? So first is accept what you have. Okay. Second, gratitude. Be thankful for what you have. So if you accept what you have and you are grateful, because there are so many millions of people who have less. Why should I compare with other few people who are more? Correct? I should be happy with what I have. And that comes with the sharing too. Okay, whatever I have, I'm sharing. So to answer the question, yeah, if you practice these two, you don't have to have stress.
There's some initiative that I'm working on, which is also going to be commercial because my needs require that. So one of my friends actually asked me Uh, so this is something that I'm doing which is very close to me as a person also, because now I don't want to do things purely for the money alone. Money is a need that is required for my daily expense and my family and whatever worldly requirements are there. But I also want to be true to myself while I am going through that journey. I don't want to now two separate parts to myself. Uh, so he said that, and I intend to talk to corporates and go out there. So the question might come up that greed is good is a mantra that was in the Wall Street, and people might be ambitious and they may say, "What is wrong with ambition?" And what would be your answer? I had an answer to that, of course, but I would want to ask you that. A lot of people would say that it is very nice when you're staying alone. There is nobody answerable. There is no family responsibility or stuff like that. How would you answer it if you were part of that milieu? Because I do not think that categorically people like you who have dedicated themselves to a certain style of living would change in any other milieu as well. But if you had to, for discussion purposes, how would you answer to the fact that, okay, what is wrong with wanting to be rich or ambitious or CEO of a company, or what would be your thoughts on that?
So, like we had discussed before, about being arrogant, having knowledge and all that stuff. Same way here, I grew up very poor. Okay? To the extent there were days when I didn't have money to buy food. I went hungry. So at that time, all I wanted to do, become was rich. I went through that journey. Correct? And then things happened. And I was living in a 4-bedroom bungalow, 2,700 square feet, quarter-acre lot with 2 vehicles in the garage. I lived all that. Correct? My master bedroom was 15 feet by 30 feet. The master bathroom was 20 feet by 15 feet. I had a walk-in closet 10 feet by 10 feet. I had 50 ties on the, that rotating thing. So I would just press that button and select what tie I'm going to wear. I had 7 sets of suits, one for each day of the week. I lived that whole life. And then once you start thinking, like I got into the stage where I said, is that what I'm made for? I mean, is that my purpose in life? It was, at one time it was, because poverty for me was an inferiority complex. It makes you feel, what I would say, inadequate. Yeah. So I went through that. And then one fine day I just said, this is not what I want to do. This is not how I want to live the rest of my life. And that's when I came back. Then I said, okay, I want to do this. The economic freedom didn't matter. Correct? I had the freedom. I've been there, done that. And then it felt that and then I really found my purpose in life. It was what I enjoyed doing best, is providing service to society. I really realized that service is what I was born for. And today I'm doing that. I'm providing service. And I'm so happy. Correct? So I feel that is, I don't want to own anything. I don't want to boast about anything. And I just want to be humble in gratitude and accept the way things are coming. So that arrogance that comes from money is gone. Now I tell people, so I'm setting up this learning space. So people ask me, oh, what are you setting up the learning space for? What do you want your children to be when they grow up? This question comes up all the time. And I just tell them, I want these children to be happy, healthy, and harmonious. Just 3 things. They could be a janitor in a place, or they could be the president of a company or the country. So long as they are happy, healthy, and harmonious, the rest of it doesn't matter. And that's the life I live. Correct? I practice what I live. That I'm living an experiential life. Now let me explain. There is somebody who has become a millionaire, and this fellow is unhappy because the fellow is looking, look, that fellow, he has got 10 million. I need to get to 10 million. Having a million is not enough for that person. And most of the world is in that bucket today. Right? So he's unhappy. Now to get to the 10 million, he's waking up at 6, he is working 100-hour weeks, and he's not having his breakfast properly. He's having some fast food and all that stuff. He's not doing any exercise. He's unhealthy. He's popping pills by the hour. So first of all, he's unhappy. He's unhealthy. And on his way to getting to the 10 million, he is kicking anybody and everybody who comes in the way. So he's not our way. People hate him. Correct? I'll share another anecdote here. This is true story. I read it in Reader's Digest 30, 40 years ago. So I don't remember the exact names in this. But there was a tycoon who bought an entire island. He had so much money. And to popularize, for people to write about how great and rich he is, he invited the who's who of the country. This was US. Correct? Everybody was there. And he invited journalists to write about the place. So there are these two journalists, right? For now, let's just take their names as Ken and Tom. I don't know what their names were in that article. And Ken tells Tom, see how much he has. You getting it? Referring to the tycoon. See how much he has. To which Tom replies, he will never have something that I have. And Ken is intrigued. I mean, what is it that this ordinary journalist have that this tycoon does not have? So Ken asks Tom, what is it? Tom answers in one word. Enough. So I'm starting a community, and I've said to the members repeatedly, only people who have reached the enough point can become a member of the community. If you have not reached the enough point, just go do what you want to do. I don't want you here because you're not happy. And if you're not happy, you are going to make others unhappy. But when you've got enough, you are happy. Come, join and we will work together.
The beauty of your answer is, for me at least, happy and healthy were on my list in terms of explanation. The harmonious part kind of completes entire picture of what I've been trying to distribute. So this answer that I asked you earlier about people of intellect having this sense of power or willing to trample others, and like I was discussing with our common friend that I spoke to you about before we started recording. I said the problem is that when I speak to people who are able to put across their point a lot better and intellectually very strongly, while my sense of intuition and conviction about what I am saying is right, but I am not finding the words because being in the moment sometimes takes time for me to formulate what I am thinking, and they get away with the better expression of the answer. The fight has gone out of me. In that sense, I do not want to sit and convince you about and win the point and say, look, I'm so smart and I have the answer to this. So when we have these humorous jabs at each other, I'm all for it and it's all fun and games. But otherwise, if the point is being made, I'll sit quiet. In fact, very often I'll take home what you've said and contemplate whether it kind of fits what I was thinking and is there a better way, is there a third way out to rethink this point and what's happening really. So I think this harmony word is so beautiful and inclusive and non-trendy, thankfully. Because trendy words have another problem that this whole positive thinking movement, you always got to be hopeful and you've always got to look at tell yourself things are going to be all right. All these things get to me because I am like, be practical. Being hopeful is not a problem, but it cannot be that you put all your eggs in one basket and not bother about working towards like what you call a plan. What I call, okay, what's your direction in life? What is it that you want to do with? I have a teenage kid, and I think this morning itself we were talking, and she said she's in her last year of school, and she said, but I will have to get those results to get a better choice of what I want to do. I, and I have been telling her in the last couple of months, you bother about what you want to do in life. I will find you the academics for it. you don't worry about where the knowledge is going to come from. If you are happy doing something and you realize this at some point, right now she's in the middle of the entire system, and that system is, oh, you are in the last year of school. Oh, this is a very important year. So much so that she got fed up. Like throughout the year, she's being told that this is important, this is important. She says, who knows it better than me? I am in the middle of it. Why do you need to keep talking about it? And I have been telling her, you chill. I have given you a 30-40% is bandwidth. You can come here or you can come here. This is minimum requirement for you to get some kind of academics, because they will need it at some place. Baki, I don't have any expectations from you. If you want to study, if you want to leave academics and just pursue knowledge, we can look at that also. I am okay with that whole idea of trying different ways of unschooling, and some of the things that I plan, hopefully that she'll try during her vacation. So again, the knowledge should empower, but it shouldn't be about others. It is about your own. I think your heart should widen as much as your mind and your brain. What is not happening is this harmony within is also breaking down. The harmony outside is also breaking down. And I find it wasn't the case when I grew up. Like, I am trying to give her the childhood that I had, where everything was, you go, you read about any subject under the sun in any language that you feel like. Speak to anybody who speaks to you about about a subject that you don't know of. With respect, you may like it, you may dislike it, and you can drop it if you don't want. But at least there is the whole world is literally your oyster. You can discover whatever you want to.
Yeah.
Speaking to you always makes me feel so happy about the process of learning itself. And I can't thank you enough for this wonderful conversation. Thank you so much, Hasmukh. Bye.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I'll see you around.
Sure.